Bhakta Vrinda Samanvitam Sri Chaitanya Prabhum Bhande Nityananda Sahoditam Sri Nandanandanam Vande Radhika Charanadvayam Gopi Jana Samayuktam Vrindavana Manoharam Amalas Amala Kamala Raji Sparshi Vata Prashite Nija Sarasini Dage Sayamulasiniyam Parijana Gana Yukta Kridiyanti Bakarim Snapyati Nijadasye Radhika Mankadanu. This is the third class, October 7th, 2014 in Karti. The glorious sevas of Srimati Radharani. And yesterday we discussed about the 5 types of Sakhis and their degrees of affection towards Radha and Krishna. Some equal, some more Radha, some more for Krishna. And touched a little bit about Bhavalas. And this is, now this section will be called the Sakhis and Manjaris, Moods and Feelings of Love. Moods and Feelings of Love, which is, in short, Gopi Bhav. And Krishnadas Kaviraj, he very nicely explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 4th chapter, about that. So we'll read some verses there. And we can understand this is the degree and intensity of the gopis' love. This is from Adi Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, 162. Gopi Ganera Prema Ruda Bhavanam Vishura Nirmala Prema Kabul Nahikam. The love of the gopis is called Rudha. It means it's one part of Mahabhav. The Gopigan, the love of all the different gopis, is called Rudabhav. It is pure and spotless. It is not at any time lust. It's pure love. So there, Prabhupada explains the position of the gopis in their loving dealings with Krishna is totally transcendental. Now 174. Atma Sukha Dukke Gopir Nahika Vichar Krishna Sukha Hetu Cheshta Mano Vyavahar. The gopis don't care about their own happiness or distress, pleasures or pains. All of their physical and mental activities are directed toward offering enjoyment to Krishna. Vyavahara, Cheshta Mano Vyavahara. Man, of course, means their thinking, planning, desiring. Cheshta means their physical movements, speech, activities. And this is the characteristic. This is their life, their vyavahara. So we want to hear about that bhav and hear about their outlook and make it our own. If we want to become like that, like the Shruti-charis and rishis of Dandakaranya, and Gayatri, Mother Gayatri, and so many male and female personalities throughout the history of Veda and the whole history of philosophy in India, they became attracted to the love of Radha and Krishna, especially in the mood of a Manjari, which seems, in one sense, odd, especially someone who's a Vairagi, a yogi, a rishi. But these are the Shruti-charis. They had, of course, they're the personified Vedic literatures, the Shrutis, the 4 Shrutis. And then the rishis have done the Dandakaranya, and they're living in a forest. And they don't have, it's not like today, they live in the forest, they have some simple thatched hut or hermitage, and they eat the fruits of the trees and drink the water of the rivers and do yoga and meditation all day. And somehow Ramchandra, they had no idea of this conception. Generally, yogis and these type of personalities, they're absorbed in rigorous physical postures and meditations to attain some degree of enlightenment, which is basically to become Atmaram, self-satisfied Atmaram yogis, to realize Brahman or enter into the divine consciousness. There's not much of an idea of interaction with another person in yoga. It's you and your practices going to the higher state of Brahman or whatever, or developing mystic powers. But it's you're alone. You learn some basics from your teacher, then you go out and seek your destiny alone. And your destiny is just you and the Brahman. But the interaction of loving dealings and emotions and love, loving exchanges is not part of yoga as a practice or as a goal. And there they are, sages, the sages of Dandakaranya. And they're all meditating, and then they see Sita and Ram in their exile, Lakshman. And then they, somehow, that all of that meditation and yoga and all the austerities that they were doing in the forest, they became very attracted to the dynamic exchange of pure love between Ram and Sita. And they thought this is, maybe they were frustrated, who knows, whatever, they left this world, the material world and all that it offers. They're also, rishis and yogis aren't born rishis and yogis, they're children, they grow up, they're 3 years old, they're 4 years old. And they have mothers and fathers, believe it or not. And then they develop a spirit of detachment, and they go off to the forest, live alone, maybe with a few others. So it means they have no interest in friendship, society, love, wives, husbands, families, kingdoms, anything. But then they saw, they wanted to become a servant of Ram, a lover of Ram, just like Sita. So he blessed them. He said, yes, you will become my lover when I become Krishna, when I manifest as Krishna. So this is the unbelievable attraction that the gopis, their whole activities were just directed towards offering pleasure to Krishna. Krishna lagiyara sava kare parityag, Krishna sukha hetu kare shuddha anurag. So we're talking about yogis and tyagis, and this word tyag means detachment or renunciation. It's often used to describe the gopis. On Uddhava in chapter 47, or 46 or 7 of the 10th canto, he's describing the gopis, and he says that because he said, in that verse he says he wants to be a lata or a creeper or something that the gopis, and he says that Swajanam, what does it say? Tyaktva Swajanam. It says Tyaktva Vrindavana Tyaktva Swajanam Aryapatam Chahitvam. It says that the gopis Tyaktva Tyag, they renounced their Swajanam, their own family members, and their dharma and their Laja dharma and religious dharma as a married woman because of Krishna, Mukunda. So it's amazing to think of these simple village girls, but their love was so intense that they became the greatest tyagis and greatest yogis. So here that word is there. They renounced everything, because there's, like you've heard this term, paribrajak, Brajakacharya, paribrajak. Braja, the word braja means to move. Krishna's Braj is a moving land. The land of Braj is moving. If you live in the land of Braj, you'll move. If you live wrongly, you'll move to hell. If you live rightly, you'll move to Krishna. But you'll move. Braj will move you, and you'll move in Vrindavan. So Krishna, because cows wander, Nagoshta, Gosta Braj, they're wandering everywhere and moving everywhere. So this is Braj. You've heard this term, Sarva Dharman Pritaja. Sarva Dharman Pritaja. Mamekam Sharanam Braja. So it means go surrender, move, go towards surrender. So this word pari braja means to move, and pari means to move in all different directions. Pari, here, there, everywhere. If you just say braja, it means he's moving, maybe one way or in a small area. But paribraj means he's moving country to country, planet to planet in the case of Narada Muni. So that when it's combined pari with tyag, then okay, they renounce. What did they renounce? Oh, some people renounce the family and they go to the forest, but they don't renounce pratishta, or they don't renounce so many things. Their bodies, they're very careful about maintaining their bodies. But when the gopis, it says parityaga, they didn't care at all for their own pleasures or pains. All their physical and mental activities are directed toward offering enjoyment to Krishna. So one may be a great tyagi or yogi living in the forest, but he has not renounced the desire for pleasure, because the greatest pleasure comes from Atmananda, or from Shanti. They relish that. When they're chanting Om or meditating, and that great peace that sweeps over their entire being. And the whole Bhagavad Gita talks about the mental state by saying your mind should be like the mind of a yogi, right? The mind of a yogi, it's in the 6th chapter of Gita. The mind of a yogi is like a mountain lake, a cool, deep, dark, pure mountain lake, way up in the mountains where no one can contaminate it. Maybe, I don't know where that is, some other planet. But some high mountain, there's a beautiful lake, and it's a lake in a windless place. It's just placid sheet of glass, practically. So this is how the yogi's mind is compared in Gita by Krishna himself. So that means that produces a great pleasure and balance and satisfaction within their beings. But the gopis, their minds are completely agitated. They're trying to sweep the floor, and they're thinking, and like there's an example of someone that was told to go, one gopi, her sister-in-law, she said, listen, can you go down and get some water from the well? And my baby's crying, my little child is crying too much. You take him with you so I can cook his lunch. So then she said, all right. So then she was a gopi, a young Brajabadhu, newly married gopi that was intensely in love with Krishna. So she got the rope and the water pot and held the kid. Then she went down to the well to fetch the water, as they say. And you take the rope and you tie it around the pot and you lower it. So she took the rope and tied it around the baby's neck because she's saying, Sham, oh Sham, I remember once I was carrying a water pot just like this and put it on my head and you threw a stone from behind, the water went down and my beanie got all wet and I looked at you like this and you looked at me like that and then I forgot and then I tripped and then you laughed and then I looked at you in an angry way because you laughed at me when I tripped. Because my braid got wet and I dropped my water pot. And all these thoughts are there. And then, so she's what they call absent-minded. The mind is disturbed. And then so she ties the rope around the kid, mistaking the kid to be the kumbha or the pot, water pot. And she's about to heave him down, down the well. And some other ladies coming to get water, they say, hey, wait, hey, stop, Roko, stop. Hey, Pagalini, what are you doing? Hey, Gopi. So then they came, and they said, and I gave her a slap the way sisters will slap each other. It's a special way. It's love, but little, like, get with it, So then, to bring her back to her senses, so yogis, they never become senseless. They're totally in control of their senses. But here it says that Krishna lagi yara sabe kare parityag. This is 175. Krishna sukha hetu kare shuddha anurag. Because their anurag, their intense attachment for Krishna was so pure and so deep, they could renounce everything. Even a desire for their own mental peace or their own physical happiness or their own balance and equipoise of their minds and beings. I mean, the words they use to describe in Sanskrit the gopis is vismita, and all kinds of words mean viklava, vismita. It's all about being disturbed and agitated and absent-minded, and they're praying to Krishna. They're saying all the yogis are trying to place they're praying to you that they can hold your feet in their minds and hearts, and that would be the perfection of their meditation, smaran, dhyanam, and yoga and asanas. But we're cursing you, and praying. We're praying to providence to get you out of our minds. We can't get you out of our minds. You're just you're sitting up there and distracting us. We drop things. We drop the kid down the well. We can't do our domestic work. That's why when they catch Krishna's flute, sometimes the gopis, they steal Krishna's flute. And they say, listen, and they start speaking to the flute. And they say, you nonsense. All you are is a simple 18-inch long piece of bamboo with a bunch of holes. Your holes means faults. There's a fault. There's holes in your body. Your body's straight. It has no character. It's dry. There's no ras. Our bodies have so many curves and so many beautiful attributes, and we're so soft and gentle and sweet. And you're just some hard, dry piece of wood. There's no. But when you touch the lips of Shyam, you ruin everything. You ruin our lives. You ruin our relationships with our families and in-laws and everything. And our minds, our thinking, our balance, everything. So then they throw in the Yamuna and they say, out. Now at least we can braid our hair, and we can act properly dress, and we can finish our housework. So this is the gopis, the condition of their minds, that they don't care. It's all for Krishna. Now we'll go to 184, text 184. This is Krishna telling Arjuna. He's telling Arjuna about the gopis. Nijangam apiya gopyo ameti samupasate tabya param name parta niguda prema bhajanam. He's saying Arjuna, of course, is a friend of Krishna. He's his cowherd friend in Vrindavan and his political friend in Hastinapur, different expansion. He says, Arjuna, I want you to know about some great devotees of the Lord. There are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis. How so? How is it so? Because the gopis, they clean their bodies, they bathe, they clean their bodies, and they decorate them because they consider their bodies to belong to me. Their bodies are mine. Nijangam mameti. They think this Nija means my own, their own angana means their limbs, their body, they think is mine. Niguda prema bhajanam. Niguda is many deep meanings which are far beyond my perception. But the word prema we all have some idea of in some way. But prema is often appendaged with different words like Vishuddha Nirmal Prem, this is Niguda Prem, and each of these words has very many deep meanings in terms of rasa tattva and language and grammar, which I don't have the knowledge to share with you. But we should understand that, because when the translation will tell us that it says love. No matter what the word is, it becomes love. It's Vishuddha Nirmal Prem. The love of the gopis in Vrindavan and also Mother Yashoda is described as Vishuddha Nirmal Prem. And then there's so many different, this is Niguda Prem. So it's a very deep level. Now verse 212, we're trying to understand how the gopis relate to Krishna, what is the intensity and depth of their love. Gopika janera krishnera manera vanchita prema seva paripati ishta samihita. The gopis know Krishna's desires, and they know how to render perfect loving service for Krishna's enjoyment. The gopis perform their service expertly for the satisfaction of their beloved. So all of these verses from Adi Lila, chapter 4, apply to all the 5 categories of Sakhis which we mentioned yesterday. Pran Sakhis, Nitya Sakhis, or the Sakhis, Nitya Sakhis. Pran Sakhis and Priya Sakhis and Paramapreshna Sakhis. They all know Krishna's desires, they know how to render perfect loving service or his enjoyment, and that has different levels. Prem Seva Paripati, Ishta Samhita. So now, this sets the foundation for how, a little bit about the gopis' love. This category we're discussing is the Sakhis and Manjaris, moods and feelings of love, which is simply called Gopi Bhav. But now let's narrow the focus down from all 5 Sakhis to the Gopi Bhav of the Manjaris, which is often called Manjari Bhav. The devotion and heart feelings of Radharani's Manjaris, Rupa Goswami explains that it's Tat Bhava Ichatmika. There's 2 types of intense love amongst the Sakhis, and the Manjaris have this type, Tat Bhava Ichatmika. That their Icha, their desire of their entire being, Atmika, is to see Radha and Krishna together and to please them. And then the Priya Sakhis and Paramapreshna Sakhis, their particular type of devotion or bhakti, their viewpoint, is called Sambhog Ichatmika. They desire, Sambhog means together, enjoying together with Krishna, and I'll read about that. This Ichatmika Bhakti is a type of devotion saturated with the desire to experience and taste. So there's an Icha, because in yoga, of course, we have to stop all desire. But desire is primordial and inherent in the living entity. Even in the highest realm of full self-realization, the topmost self-realization would be prem samadhi, to realize one's personal spiritual form and enter Vaikuntha or Goloka. And even there we find there is room for desire. There is the existence of Icha, and it's very much part of the divine reality from Krishna all the way down to his parts and parcels. So every member of the spiritual continuum has Icha, desire. Krishna's desire is to love his devotees and please them. And the devotee's desire is to love Krishna and please him. So it's a competition of fulfilling desires. And Krishna is selfless and the gopis are selfless. Something a little inconceivable. So their devotion is saturated with the desire to experience. They have a desire. They want to experience. We all want to experience. In our case, we're following spiritual life. We want to experience the spiritual reality. Has anyone seen Krishna? Has anyone had a spurti? Anyone had a vision? Because people look for miracles to create some, deepen the faith or keep one going. Oh, it's possible. See, he attained it. So now I'll try and attain it. But the goal we're trying to attain is not so easily attained by anyone. Thousands and thousands, almost sounds like the Bible. Millions of people are called, but only one walks through the door or something. It's been a while, but something. Millions of people. The Bible's all parokshavad. It's indirect. So millions of people are called, but only one enters the door. Which means millions of people take up the spiritual calling. Millions of people try to understand and approach God, but only one leaves this world and passes through that door to the spiritual world. So that's the Bible. What to speak of prema bhakti? It's not a Haribo, Nitai Gaur, here we go. We're going, but it takes a few lifetimes, a few hundred. Not to discourage. Always we want to encourage each other and the the spiritual leaders, ladies and gentlemen, whoever they may be, those spiritual leaders and dynamic personalities, they're all about encouragement from their own example or of steadiness and spurti or realization. And we're all going towards the same destiny. So this is the unrestricted pure love of Radha. They want to experience and taste the sweetness, the sweet moods arising from the meeting of Radha and Krishna. The Manjaris taste the greatest happiness in unifying Radha and Krishna. It's very difficult to have a standard of comparison for such high topics which have never been within our, although it's Nara Leela, although it's human-like, Krishna has a human form, Radha has a human form, they all appear similar to us, nose, hair, eyes, clothes, and they have conjugal love and friendly love and motherly love and master to servant. Everything seems very analogous and similar. But then when you hear the inner dynamics of how it works, the spiritual dimension, and how they exchange love and how they feel, then you realize that we can't understand it. How is it that the greatest happiness of the Manjaris is in unifying Radha and Krishna? Does anyone have an experience of that in the material world? My greatest happiness is bringing this man together with this woman. It's what we call a chintya. So we hear about it, and then we have to measure it and weigh it. Is this something I'm accept? Because sankalpa vikalpa, this is the mental functions. Do we accept what we're perceiving and hearing, or do we reject it? And it's so unusual that it becomes attractive. Unusual things have a certain level of attraction. And it's so sweet and so different that we think, is it possible? This is alokik. This is transcendental. This must be spiritual. Because I can't find it anywhere in the length and breadth of this material world that one young girl, 13-year-old girl, finds her greatest happiness in bringing some young man and some older teenage boy and girl together for their conjugal bliss and enjoyment. And they'll do anything and everything they can to make that happen. And they're completely selfless. So it's a whole reorientation of one's consciousness, one's worldview, one's sentiments, one's feelings. That's the whole process of raga, nuga, sadhana, bhakti. We're following the rag and we're hearing about it repeatedly. Remember, in the first class in the first class 3 days ago, we read from Prabhupada's Chaitanya, Charitamrita? No, yeah. It was Chaitanya Charitamrita, it was a purport, where he says that one should live in Vrindavan hearing about the talks between the gopis and Krishna. Remember? That was Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was a purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada was saying, how should one live in Vrindavan? One should practice living in Vrindavan by repeatedly hearing about the talks of the gopis with Krishna. He didn't say the coward boys, he said the gopis with Krishna. This is Madhurya Rati. This is conjugal love. This is Gopi Bhav, Radha Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. This is Prabhupada's Tika, his purport on Sakhi, talking about that verse about the Sakhis and Madhya Leela. Chapter 8, Ramananda Sambhag, Sakhi Vina, says without the Sakhis one cannot enter into these Leelas. And then that purport Prabhupada's explaining. Because the whole CC is about Madhurya Rati, so all Prabhupada's purports will be about that, primarily. So this is their nature. The Gopis Bhav or the Sakhis Bhav means unrestricted pure love for Radha, or one's Yuteshwari, which means the Ishwari of their Juta, their Gopi leader. One may have unrestricted pure love for Lalita, although she's engaged fully in the service of Radharani. Like Rupa Goswami has unrestricted love for Lalita, but he's fully engaged in the service of Radharani. Rati Manjari, Tulsi Manjari, Bhanamati, Raghunath Das, he has unrestricted and pure love for Vishaka because he's in Vishaka's gun. He's in the group of Vishaka. And some may have more love for Sudevi or Rangadevi, etc. But they're all Manjaris and they all love Radharani and they all have Radha Sneha Adhika. But this is part of this is their Sakhi Bhav. Sakhi Bhav or love is limitless and devoid of any selfishness. The Sakhis or Manjaris, they think that even if they're a Yuteshri, means they're a group leader, like Lalita she has her Sakhis in her group and she has her Manjaris. She has her Asta Manjaris. She has her Asta Sakhis. But she thinks that Radharani is the Yuteshri. They all, because they're Radharani's girlfriends, even though they have their own groups, and they function with those groups in their sambhog or enjoyment with Krishna, they still feel that Radharani is our supreme, she's dearer to us than our own lives. So what is the essence of Gopi Bhav? It is intimate trust and a feeling of mutual identity with the Gopi group leader. They're best of friends. The Sakhis are best of friends. They're very tight, loving girlfriends, which is, again, another inconceivable concept, although sometimes it happens, because every relationship in the material world is interpenetrated by Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsarya. So men tend to be proud and greedy, and women tend to be a little envious. It's a general category. Every conditioned soul. Krishna says in the Gita, in 7th chapter, Icha dvesha samutena dvanda mohena bharata. He says that every living entity, irregardless of gender, whatever gender you may adopt at certain sojourn, during your sojourn, Icha dvesha samutena. So this dvesh means envy. So every jiva is full of icha and dvesh, desire and envy. But as a category, generally women are a little envious of each other. More than men are also envious of each other, but a little less. That's the general observation. Most women will admit that to some extent. But men, they're extremely egoistic and greedy. In terms of lust, anger, greed. I think they're lusty and greedy, and women are envious. And everyone has their expertise, but we're all in the same boat. We're all conditioned souls. So this is to have mutual identification with the Gop leader, and very tight, loving friends. You may have a very tight, loving girlfriend or two, and at some point, if she happens to, run off with your boyfriend, then it's not so tight anymore. You get a little maybe envious or upset. So the Sakhis and Manjaris, they can understand, the Sakhis and Manjaris can understand spontaneously understand the moods and needs of the heroine, for example, Radharani, without her speaking or gesturing. So Radharani's not speaking, she's not even making any gestures, because that's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, this is his viewpoint, although we don't find it in other Goswami writings, he talks about this concept of the Boma Vrindavan. Because in the Bhagavatam, we read in 1st canto, chapter 6, about Narada Muni's liberation, it says that he simultaneously gave up his material body as Panchabhotika Deha, his materially five elements. He gave up this materially constituted body, and immediately Lord Vishnu brought, it says Prayujamane. Prayujamane means that he brought from Vaikuntha Murti, he brought one spiritual body and gave it to Narada Muni. And he went in that body to Vaikuntha. He didn't go to a practice Vaikuntha. So our Goswamis, they cite these verses in Sandarbhas from the 1st canto about the spiritual body and attaining the spiritual body. It's also mentioned in 8th canto about the Gajendra Moksha, and in the 6th chapter about Ajamil received. These are 3 places in Bhagavatam describe about getting the spiritual body. And Narada Muni, 1st canto, chapter 6, and 8th canto, Gajendra Moksha, 6th canto, Ajamil and Gajendra. But Vishnu Chakravarti Pad explains in Ragvartman Chandrika and other places that in this, and Madhurya Kandamani also, and others agree for this point, but he says that you, in this, as a sadhaka, you attain perfection, you come to the level of prema. But in order to actually understand, and we're talking, the point on discussion now is how the Manjaris and Sakhis, without any gesturing or any words from Radharani, they can spontaneously understand the moods and needs of Radharani, or their Yuteshwari. If Rupa Manjari is engaged in the service of Lita, and at that juncture Lita is enjoying with Krishna, well, Rupa Manjari is there. She's one of the Ashtasakis. So then she has to understand. So Vishnu says that all of that understanding, to understand all those moods, you have to know about Sneha, Man, Pranaya, all the different higher levels of love. There's Prema, then Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Man, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, and on and on. And all of those sentiments and ecstasies cannot be perceived or contained within the material tabernacle of the realized Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yogi, even the Premi Yogi, Premi Bhakti Yogi. So he leaves this material body, then he takes birth in Goloka Vrindavan in the Prakat Leela, Boma Vrindavan Leela. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti. Only he has this idea. He's presenting this idea. Nowhere else we find. And he says that you enter there and you get further a training and association. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he takes off from this concept of Vishwanath and he writes in Gita Mala some bhajans about entering there and whatnot. And I'm sitting in my kunj and I'm singing like a mad woman in my Manjari form as Kamala Manjari. And then when will I see Rupa Manjari and Ananga Manjari coming down this footpath and saying, what do you see? You Pagalini, in a Bengali in his bhajan, he said, you Pagalini, what are you doing sitting here? Don't you see the divine couple are coming now? And so prior to this, of course, Kamala Manjari Bhaktivinoda Thakur took birth in Bhoma Vrindavan from the womb of a Sakhi, grew up, and then they said, come. Now we're going to introduce you to the Sakhis. So then Kamala Manjari, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his guru Sakhi, this Vilas Manjari, and Ananga took him to Rupa Manjari, and then he learned singing from Vishaka. You have to learn singing and all the different kinds of arts and kala, the 64 kalas, are all have to be learned in the Sakhi Samaj. In the Sakhi Samaj, in the association of all the Sakhis, in Krishna's Prakat Leela, when he's manifest, we'll learn all these things. And they'll say, see, Radharani, she's like, now she wants, like, she's feeling like this. And they say, oh, okay. And then Sakhi will say, can you feel that? No. And somehow there has to be a transmission. It's a teaching. So how it goes, let me go there and come back, I tell you, but if anyone goes there, usually they don't come back, so this is just my hypothesis from what I've read and tried to put together, but everyone knows that there's some shiksha there, there's teaching, everywhere is told Vishaka teaches singing, and sometimes Radharani takes the Manjaris into a cave at Govardhan. She says, I'm going to teach you one of my favorite bhajans, one of my favorite Brajbhasha bhajans. And at a certain point, when I'm in the kunja with Krishna, at a certain time of our vilas, enjoying intimately together, you will feel something in your heart. You will feel something in your heart, and when you feel that feeling you have, that's the time for you to sing this bhajan. This is what it means by the Sakhis and Manjaris can understand spontaneously the moods and needs of the heroine. For example, in our mundane existence, say you're husband and wife, and very close and tightly, lovingly related. And then the husband he's working in his room doing something. And for some odd reason, his stomach is a little hot. and he doesn't usually drink water at this time, but he feels very thirsty. He feels very thirsty, but he's busy writing or surfing on the internet or whatever. He's doing something. But the wife is in the kitchen or wherever she may be, and then she's, oh, my husband's thirsty. She brings some water, and she brings it and puts it down the table and walks out. Just puts it and walks out. Because she doesn't want to disturb him, because maybe he's writing or he's doing something. Then he looks, he says, how does she know I was thirsty? Haven't you had this experience? How does he know this, or how does she know that? Someone calls you, I think, are you okay? I have a feeling you don't feel okay. You all right? You haven't met that person in 2 weeks. This is the ESP, the whatever all these different things. So, transmissions, heart transmissions, Reiki, whatever you want to call it. But the origin of it all is there. So this is a very exciting realm to hear about and to anticipate how you'll be so much tadatmika. Because it says, we're discussing how the Manjaris are tad bhava ichatmika. Tad bhava ichatmika. Their bhakti, their devotion is completely composed of the icha, the desire. Their devotion is full of the desire to experience Radharani's feelings and moods and to help her in that, and assist her in that. They want nothing more than that. So this is, I always found this to be quite an amazing thing, to spontaneously understand the moods and needs of anyone, regardless whether they're called Yuteshri or Srimati Radhika, without any gestures, without any words. So that's why I was explaining how I read this pastime where Radharani, I can't recall now, but it's in one of our proper books, she takes the Manjari into a cave in Govardhan. I think it's in one of the songs of Vishwanath or Stavavali. And she says, I want to teach you this very special bhajan. And then you'll know, and everything you learn is not just so you can sit under a tree and sing a beautiful love song. It's for Radharani's pleasure. And it enhances the moods, just like there's different ways of chanting the Mahamantra. So, and the upakya, the meanings of the Mahamantra are given by the different acharyas, Gopal Guru Goswami, Jiva Goswami, of course our Gaudiya Math, in ISKCON we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But then there's Jiva Goswami, then there's Raghunath Das Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad and Raghunath Das Goswami Pad, their view of the Mahamantra, their translation, is from Radharani's viewpoint. Why? Because they're Manjaris. A Manjari's whole world view, her world is Radharani's world. Her view is Radharani's view. Her feelings are Radharani's feelings. Her sentiments are Radharani's sentiments. Her desires are Radharani's desires. This is the Manjaris. So there they explain how, because Radharani also chants Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. And so does Krishna. But Krishna, when Radharani is chanting, every single word means Krishna. Hari it's not energy of the Lord and all these things. It's not the Yugal conception. Generally we find in our Acharya's meanings, they explain the Shakti-Man conception in the Mahamantra. Hare is Radharani, etc. And then, so this means, this further shows how completely everything becomes focused when one is developing Manjari Bhav or practicing Raganuga sadhana. That's why they say that Vaidhi sadhana and Raganuga are the same. But it's just, there's something called Rag. This is rules, sadhana bhakti guided by rules. This is sadhana bhakti by Rag. Well, what is that Rag? Well, the Rag takes the shape of the rati that you're interested in. Whether it's the sthayi rati of course in Gaudiya Sampradaya, it's basically Madhura Rati. We see some phenomenon of Sakhi Rati here in our side of the Gaudiya world, but outside this part of the world, it's all of our offerings are in Madhurya Rati. But this discussion, of course, is about the glorious sevas of Radharani, so we'll stay on the point. So they, what I paraphrased this when I was taking notes. I said that it's a language, because I said without Radharani speaking or gesturing, and the Manjaris and Sakhis spontaneously understand the needs. What does Radharani need right now? She needs me to leave, or she needs me to sing a bhajan, or needs me to do some seva, intimate seva. She needs me to hand her some tambul, some betel nut. Right now she wants me to slide some into her left hand, and she'll put it into Krishna's mouth right at this moment. That's what it means, needs and feelings, moods. What is their mood, and how? That's why the Manjaris, when they're chanting the Mahamantra, they chant the Mahamantra at times of viraha, when Radharani is in viyog, when Radharani is separated from Krishna, and they chant at times of prayog or samprayog or yog, when they're sambhog, when they're enjoying together, the same mantra. They chant it and then there's just a different mood or bhav behind the same meaning. All the words mean Krishna. But then when Radharani is separated, then they're chanting all this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and Apurvan Yam, 3:36 in the afternoon till. This is the longest period of separation. Radharani is very much distressed after Surya Kund. After Surya Kund and until the evening Milan, Avisar, 10:30, is a long time. It's the longest time in the period of the whole day where Radha and Krishna are separated. From 3:30 in the afternoon until 10 o'clock at night. It's called Ratri Kal, Ratri Lila, Nisha Lila, Astakali Lila, 10:36 or 10:48 at night until 3:36 a.m. But that in the afternoon, when Radharani and Krishna leave, that's the separation of Radharani from Krishna at Surya Kund. That's why it's written about in Sankalpa Kalpadruma and also Stavavali, how the Manjari Radharani's walking off, they're walking on the same path, and then Radharani splits on one fork. There's a fork in the road, and she goes one way with her Sakhis and Manjaris, and Jatila, and sometimes Abhimanyu or Katila. These guys, it's a very entertaining venue here. No, it's good, because usually when you watch lectures on the YouTube, they show the lecturer's face for 1 second, then Radha and Krishna, and because it's so boring to look at the guy for the whole time. So even we're filming this, and there's so many individual pictures of me, but when they make a YouTube, it'll be like 5 seconds of me. So I feel, boy, I got to take the humble pie here. It looks like I have a 45-minute class, but my beautiful wrinkled old face is only out of those 45 minutes, it's only 30 seconds. Then it's Krishna and Radha and gopis, or it's Gaur Kathas. Otherwise, people just turn it off. Anyway, so here, this guy comes out and says, okay, here, look at me, and get a little, wake up a little bit. And at any rate, sometimes it's hard to stay on focus, but I forgot. I already lost the point I was making. Do you know where I was? Guleri Baba took my consciousness away. Oh, I was just summarizing this point about how they know the needs, and without her speaking or gesturing, I said this is the ultimate sign reading. I said this is a language of feelings conveyed through hearts, from Radha to her Sakhis and Manjaris. This is a phrase that after I was studying this, I came up with this phrase, that the language, how in other words, we're talking about how Radharani and the Sakhi Yuteshwari communicates with her Manjaris. I said it's a language, because they're not speaking. Language means German, English, French, Russian, etc., Hindi, Bengali. So they're not speaking, and she's not, no kataksha, no moving eyebrows or fingers, and there's so many ways they're gesturing. Huh? Yeah, thank you. Because that's there, we can get back to that, but this is going on my own, not on. So we're talking about, what I was speaking about is this large period of viyog. This is the most painful period from 3:36 in the evening till it's 7 hours. If you look at the 24 hours, Astakali Leela of Radha and Krishna, it's only an hour here, an hour there when they get together. They leave each other at 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 a.m. they leave, just before 6, whatever. Because everything's, they can be here, they can be in Vrindavan and Nidhiban at 5:59, and at 6 o'clock when 6 a.m. when Yashoda comes in the bedroom, and Nanda Bhavan and Nandagram, Krishna's, oh, Janani, Ma, oh, Lala, you seem so tired. Oh, yeah, boys wrestling. And then she, oh, Rohini, look, he's so fatigued, he's just rolling this way. Quick, go get some makan and misri. It makes a little camphor inside because it's too hot. Maybe a little cooling. So Rohini runs off to the kitchen and grinds up some mystery into very fine camphor-like powder, this fine powder, and mix it, freshly churned butter, and mixes it together. And brings it to Krishna. So it's a very painful time. So now, at that time, first I'll speak this. At that time, Radharani is, of course, it's a very painful time, actually. When you read about the description, they bring Radharani back to Yavat. And no other time, you read about she goes and cooks for Krishna, she comes back to Yavat or Barsana, and then she's with Krishna in Nikunja, and she comes back. You don't read about the gopis lying Radharani down on lotus bed and fanning her with lotus leaves dipped in moon-chilled Yamuna water, and then they dip and then they fan her with that, and they cover her whole body with chandan lepana. Her whole body's with sandalwood paste, and her body's so hot the sandalwood paste just dries out because she's thinking, she knows, oh, it's going to be so long. Yugayata, what's it? Yugayatam Nameshina. It will be 7 hours until I see Sham. How can I live? And so at that time, in Viyog, service is judged by its necessity, is said. So the necessity is great, very great there for Radharani to remember Krishna. So different gopis come and they try to tell their pastimes. Oh, I just came, Krishna's coming. Radharani, don't feel so anguished. So then the Manjaris may, on the indication of their Guru Sakhi or Rupa Manjari, they may begin very soft kirtan. Very soft kirtan, very, very small kartals. That's like when Srila Prabhupada was his Tirobhav Leela, or let's say, time of leaving this world in Vrindavan, some of the good disciples, or anyone, they would come and there was all Akhanda Kirtan on Prabhupada's bedside. They had very small kartals, and 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're singing very soft, and Prabhupada's lying on his bed. So Radharani is lying on her flower bed, and the Manjaris are singing the Mahamantra. And now they're meditating on a beautiful Leela where Krishna is meeting Radharani. And every word of the Mahamantra is building and creating Radharani's remembrance of Krishna and creating this whole pastime which unfolds in Radharani's mind as she hears this wonderful singing, which is the greatest medicine and comfort for her perilous time of separation. That's chanting and went in Viyog. And then when Radharani is in Kunja, or that's another topic, intimate sevas. Oh, I wasn't recording. I hope you were. I had it on pause, because you can't tell, because there's a red light here. And when it's going, the bars are going like it's recording, but it's just paused. And then the first day's class I didn't record at all, actually. Yesterday I got, today I got, no, right now. Really having a bad time with it. There's quite a lot of backups here. It's a good thing. At any rate, when Radharani and Krishna are together in the Kunja, then at that time there may be one Manjari there, and then the Kunja Seva, inside the Kunja, when Radharani and Krishna are there. And Radharani will know that, the Manjari will know that now Radharani wants me to chant the Mahamantra. And then they'll chant the Mahamantra, and every word means Krishna. And now when the Manjari chants the Mahamantra in our Manjari Bhav, or to Radha and Krishna when they're together in Samprayog and Yog, Sambhog, then it enhances, it accelerates and enhances all of the experience of Radha and Krishna's intimacies and love dalliance even more and more and more. Because, for example, this is how the Manjari is singing like this Mahamantra. This is by sound. This is by the Shabda, the mantra Shabda, that is enhancing Radharani's feelings and appreciation and the whole experience of her loving exchanges with Krishna. That's through the auditory process. Now, outside of the kunja, in the Brajani kunjas, the Keli kunjas, pastime cottages of Radha and Krishna where they meet together, there are paintings outside by Chitra Devi, Chitra Sakhi. There are paintings of what? Of Krishna. And not like Kubja. Kubja has samanjas, she has sadarani rati. Sadara means ordinary, not ordinary, it's prema for God. She's a premi bhakta, and she has no interest in anything else. She's niskinchan, akinchan. So she has prema, and it's rati, and she's compared as on one side of the scale of that pure love is the samartha rati of the gopis. In the middle of the scale is the samanjasa rati of the Dwarka Mahishis. And on the other side of the scale, on the lower end of the scale of pure love, is the Sadarani rati of Kuja, Trivakra, and Mathura. But at any rate, she also, when Krishna came with Uddhav to her house, as per her desire, he reciprocated, then on the walls of her apartment were all kinds of paintings, all kinds of artwork, which was all erotic paintings to stimulate the erotic desire, to excite the loving partners. So that was very explicit and very clear. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, and Krishna with the gopis who have Samartha Rati outside the Kunja, there are paintings of Krishna's Leela. But it's not intimate Leelas, or even, not even with the gopis. What is it? Krishna killing demons. Bakari Krishna, then there's killing Baka, Agari, Bakari, killing Agasura, Bakari Krishna and Agari Krishna. And it says on the top of each painting, this one says Bakari Leela, Agari Leela. Like in an art gallery, sometimes they have an art gallery, has a painting, then there's some title on the painting, the sunset, two lovers meet, or whatever, whatever they have, different things. So now the question is, why? This is a Keli Mandir where Radha and Krishna meet intimately for their Madhurya Leela. Because a beloved, likes to know that her husband is heroic. My husband, if your husband has a body like that Bombay actor Roshan or whatever his name, Ritik Roshan or some famous Bollywood actor someone told me about. So that the heroine, the Nayaka, she becomes proud if her lover is a hero. He's a hero. He's powerful. He's strong, and so they get excited. They said, wow. They come to the kunja and they see these paintings. I'm going to spend the night with this person? Because it's anurag. It's not like, oh, here we go, meeting Krishna again. Maybe there's no power. I guess I was trying to censor or something. I think we're out of power because of, yeah. That's Bhagavan's. Okay, you said enough. Okay, now it's time for Chaitanya Leela. Hey, what? See, now mine started working and yours has stopped working. So I'll show you. We have a battery. One of us has a battery in it. Just 1 minute. I'm going to try, sing some mantra to my inverter. 1 second.